Paris Prime Incarnon. It's a buff. It's just like the Dread. Kinda looks like the Scinta on a perfect shot. Instead of being exactly like the Dread, perfectly exactly like the Dread, it doesn't have the slash on the Incarnon mode. Increase projectile size and heat damage. Yeah. Overshield increases damage and with sprint speed at 1.2, 80% fire rate. That is a lot of fire rate actually. So just go with that. I just went with that. Here is the utility section. Kinda. On punch through hits, this works perfectly with the Incarn mode, or minus zoom, or projectile speed. I don't really care a lot about all of them, but I think this is the best one. Minus zoom is just okay. Projectile speed, I wouldn't like actually to go with projectile speed for this bow, because for the best purpose I can think of is like a hull clearer, a collie clearer, and I wouldn't like as much projectile speed because, you know, enemies get into that holly every few seconds and you might lose an enemy, not kill an enemy because of a frame. So yeah. Last one is the least interesting last perk that I've ever seen. We have critical chance and damage for undamaged enemies. So to deal the highest amounts of damage that we usually do, we use our primers and stuff. And this is... it's gonna give us crit chance and crit damage if we don't prime, or who even knows how undamaged is calculated, if it is not like only like not attacked, or it must have 100% health, because if it must, then you're screwed with most frames, because you will eventually deal a few points of damage to an enemy, so who knows. But in theory, you could have a great time one-shotting stuff with this. That is a possibility. On hit increases damage by 15 for 3 seconds. If this was 15%, then it would be okay, but just 15 feels meh. Increases status chance by 60%. This is actually huge. This is a huge increase on this status chance. It's gonna be much more for the Incarnate version, because you have, you know, the thing is not that it's good to have such a high status chance, but the bad thing is that it's mainly puncture, and even on the Incarnate's heat, so it's not that bad. The Paris family, not only the Paris Prime, even the MK1 Paris, it was already strong AF. It's just a bit better now. This is the standard build that I used to have. Riven, pure viral, and what you could do is to put 100 munitions to make it a bit more viable, but really it wouldn't go anything too further than this. I even have the charge rate, but do I have the sprint speed? I do. Some, I don't know if there's have already fixed, but yeah, this is what it used to look like. You can have an idea. We can just try and give a few shots on enemies. I'm just gonna change frames so we don't get the data mixed up. Can armor strip some. If you guys remember the MK1 level cap, you know that this thing was already... that is a very, very low chance of happening, but yeah. So, yeah. And I'm gonna have to change this color. It's just too much pollution. With armor strip, everything is shredded. If not by the initial hit, the Heat proc will make sure that they die, but without anything, any strip, I guess you probably kill the normal star chart without a much problem, and for the steel path only, you might have a problem with Eximas and stuff. Made a second build to work with Hunter munitions. Usually you wouldn't have as much problem keeping Deadhead up, but with Hunter munitions it's a bit more difficult. It's because of the vast majority of damage is gonna come from the slash proc, and yeah, normal mode, pretty deadly. Incarn mode, yeah, interesting, pretty interesting. I'm gonna say that this is probably pretty close to the Dread Incarnon. Of course, with this having to actually have a Hunter munition slotted to do something, because the Dread doesn't have it. The Dread has slash on the secondary or the Incarnon form. So that's the thing. They've made another Scinta slash Dread Incarnon. Let's change this thing to see if it gets a little bit more less annoying, because some visual effects are just too strong. At least if you get a headshot, this, yeah. There's still some kind of flash going on, but it's much better. Yeah. Let's see if if it does the same. It is the Dread. There's not even something to take away from this. It's the Dread. Same Incarnon effect, is just a different IPS distribution, and not even IPS, a whole damage type distribution. It doesn't have puncture nor slash, but has heat. That's really the change, and the perks are a bit different. You can go Dread. Yeah. But the Dread and the Dread perks are okay too. So, you know what? It is a buff. There's no way saying it's not. It's just nothing too crazy, in my opinion, at least. You might, due to the increase on status chance, actually, you might be able to make some interesting builds. I would guess that you could make something very decent with probably gas or electricity, with armor strip, and considering the amount of punch through that they have, I think it's infinite body punch through, so you can make some interesting stuff. I think the Paris was already a pretty strong weapon. This is a buff, of course. If you didn't use the Paris before, you're probably not gonna use now. I don't know, or maybe you might. Who knows? I just don't think if you're not the bow user, it's not this Incarnon that's gonna turn you into one. But it's still a buff. Leave a like, subscribe. Peace.
Till next time, friend.